Before the National Socialists became the dominant party in Germany, there existed within the party occult practices. These occult practices would later fade into the background as the National Socialists gained political power. However, its members were still highly active and had great influence on the actions of the party. These occult beliefs were concerned with different but interrelated subjects. The Thule Society, for example, which was founded in 1918, was named after Ultima Thule, which is Latin for most distant north, and mentioned by the Roman poet Virgil in his epic poem Aeneid. Thule was believed to be the capital of Hyperborea, a mystical and lost land of the most northern earthly places. The ancestors of the German people, who they referred to as Aryans, were thought to be from a lost continent, such as Atlantis or Inner Earth. These occults were dedicated to exploring the planet in search for scientific evidence of the Aryans and their origins. The Thule Society branched off into another society called the Black Sun. The Black Sun was a reference to the belief of the prima materia, which existed in the center of the earth and was the source of Vril. Vril is an energy or force that many different religions and belief systems have attempted to harness and define. A term commonly known in Eastern traditions to describe this force is chi, and other terms such as odic force, ojas, astral light, or orgon. These terms are attempting to describe a cosmic energy or force that exists throughout the physical and the spiritual planes, which are linked together by consciousness. Another branch of occultism, named the Vril Society in Germany, formed in 1921, which mostly consisted of members from the Thule Society, which was led by a group of women who claimed to be psychic mediums and were motivated to harness the life force of Vril in order to further their quests for their ancient Aryan ancestors. These beliefs were not new ideas from the Germans, but originated from a thought leader of the mid to late 1800s named Madame Blavatsky. Blavatsky was a spiritual leader of her time and developed a highly sophisticated concept of the history and future of humanity by traveling around the world and speaking with various religious figures. Through these experiences, she created her own brand of spiritual esotericism and understanding of human nature, which is understood today to be theosophy. Essentially, Blavatsky conceptualized in her book The Secret Doctrine of 1888 root races are, quote, stages in human evolution in the esoteric cosmology, end quote, of which there are 7. The first root race originates in a time even before ancient history was recorded, and stemming from each root race are 7 sub-races. The catalyst in these progressions from one root race to evolve to the next are changes to the geographical environment, biological changes of the body, and spiritual changes of the soul. According to Blavatsky, the current population of human beings stems from the 5th root race, which are the Aryans, and in order for this to take place, a new human being must come into being. This new human is predicted to be of higher intelligence and to have a more developed pituitary body, which means the possession of certain psychic powers along with cognizing astral emotions. The Germans believed they were able to achieve this transformation and were highly motivated to do so. The head of the Vril Society was a woman named Maria Orsic, along with 4 other women who had long hair, believing it increased their psychic intuition. In an attempt to contact the ancient Aryans of the past, Maria Orsic and her other psychic mediums claimed they received psychic messages from the star system Taurus, 64 light years away, specifically the star Aldebaran. These messages came from a people who inhabited a planet orbiting the star and informed Maria the Germans were their descendants. The Vril Society launched a project called Operation Aldebaran, and after further communication of a few years, the psychic mediums wrote down transcripts that depicted messages in a language unknown to them. This language was interpreted to be an archaic Sumerian Germanic tongue, and in 1919, this material was presented to a small group of members from the Thule, Black Sun, and Vril societies at an old hunting lodge near Berchtesgaden. After the cryptic messages were interpreted, it depicted engineering instructions to create a variety of flying craft. These craft were named Vril and Hanabu. This links the people from Aldebaran to the ancient Mesopotamians, given that their languages were essentially identical to each other. In addition, this archaic Mesopotamian language was phonetically similar to modern German. It's worth mentioning that the Vril Society modeled itself philosophically after a Gnostic Templar order named the Lords of the Black Stone, founded in 1221. This order valued the teachings and the myths of Babylon and Sumeria, and adopted a symbol from those eras, being the winged bull. The winged bull is understood to be an interpretation of the constellation Taurus. One of the forefront researchers of these flying craft, Dr. W.O. Schumann of the University of Munich and the Thule Society, verified the physics of these flying craft and their operability. Maria continued these telepathic communications with the Aldebarans, and in 1943 claimed that circling the star were 2 planets. In 2015, after further observation of the star, this claim was confirmed by astrologists, although with some skepticism, saying there are either 2 planets orbiting the star or none at all. On March 11th, 1945, a letter was sent to all members of the Thule Society, which was written by Maria Orsic, and ended with the words, "No one stayed here." Since then, her whereabouts are unknown, and it is speculated she either escaped with the Germans to Antarctica or to the Aldebaran star system. Shortly after Maria's disappearance in 1946, the Rockefeller Foundation paid $139,000 for the exclusive rights to the official public version report of the history of the Second World War in order to avoid any mention of German occultism. One of Rockefeller's major contributors was Standard Oil. If you enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing. If you want to keep up with the latest, you can follow me on Twitter. And as always, thanks an awful lot for listening.